Next in the range is the Cascade 700. Slightly larger capacity, 154 gallons an hour on this one. Same guarantee period, 3 years. Same cable length, 10 metres. Right, let's get inside and have a look at this. Same type of fountain heads as previous, but with an extra one now. First thing that's noticeable about this pump is a larger cage. This larger cage has a greater area across the surface of it, so it doesn't block up as quick as the smaller pumps. You'll still need to do the regular maintenance on them, but not quite as much on these ones. Right, let's get into the fountain heads. You can also use this pump as a small water feature pump. As previously with the Cascade 450, it has one of the fittings on the top, so you can take the 12mm pipe. Again, it has the adjuster on there, so if it is an uneven base on the bottom of the pond, you can adjust it with the fountain head. With this one, you'll find that the actual flow adjuster from the front of the previous one, the 450, isn't on the front anymore, it's located on the top. Again, choice of 2 different fountain heads. These fountain heads will produce 2 different sprays. This one with a smaller amount of holes will obviously produce a larger spray. The one with more holes will produce a wider spray and not quite as tall. The third fountain head is a bell jet. This one creates what some people call a mushroom effect. It's adjustable by how far the top piece puts out. When the top piece is the furthest extension it can be, the water will simply come up and drop down. The lower that goes towards the top of it, the more the bell jets start to be formed. Up until a point where if you go too far on there, the bell jet actually comes out like a sheet sideways. Can't get very wet doing that. And that is how the assembly of the Cascade 700 is complete. With this one, same as the other one, and any pump really, we would recommend a decent amount of maintenance on them. If you remove the fountain head from there, with these ones they have almost like a clam case. There's a little indent to push in, open that out, and then the pump can actually physically come out from the side of it. While that's there, it's recommended, I would say, to take the cage and just give it a quick blast down with the hose pipe just to get rid of any loose debris in there, a bit of blanket weed. Regarding the maintenance on this pump, it has a very similar cover, what they call the pump well cover. These need to be twisted. Normally the impeller will come off with it, sometimes it stays inside there. If it does stay in there, you can't get it out. Small pair of needle nose pliers to take that out. Make sure the inside in there is clean. Cotton bud again is probably the easiest. And the blades and the magnet. There's a small seal ring just on the inside. Make sure that's completely intact. Pop that back in. Nice maintenance. When taking these pumps and any other pump out of a pond, it is recommended to actually use the handles or something provided. Never lift it by the cable, and ideally not by the fountain head either. It can sometimes cause a lot of stress around the smallest point there and the cable. It can lead to breakages in the cable, which is never a good thing to have happen. And that is the assembly of a Cascade 700. That covers all the key points of each individual pump. As an overall view, as you may have noticed from looking at some of the pumps before, you'll notice there are no moulded plugs on these. Pond pumps are exempt from having to have a moulded plug on. So if you receive your pump and there's no plug on there, don't worry, that is standard. You won't invalidate the guarantee by getting an electrician out to put a plug on there for you. We do recommend any installation of any electrics into the garden, kind of anywhere really, you get a qualified electrician to do that for you. That's what they're paid to do, to keep you safe. So always consult a qualified electrician when involved in electrics. On the subject of electrics, when you are doing any maintenance on the pumps, turn the power off. Always isolate the power completely, just to be on the safe side. So before you start taking pumps out of the pond, make sure you do turn the electrics off on that. Regarding spares for all these pumps, we have a comprehensive range of spares, from the smallest part to the largest part. The bulk motor is not listed as a spare part, it's the main cost of the pump. But everything else, from fountain heads, T-pieces, hose tails, we carry those, and they're all available on our website, which is www.gardensite.co.uk. kind of covers most of the things there, most of the things on there. All the pumps, we said before, have a 3-year guarantee, 10 metres of cable. Regarding the cable, when you are taking the pump out of the pond, always use the handles provided, or reach in and get them. These ones don't, the smaller one doesn't have a handle because it's usually meant for smaller ponds, so reaching in isn't too much of a problem. With the other ones, handles are provided, so ideally always use those on there. As I mentioned on a few occasions, cages on the front of these, they're not a filter for your water, they're a filter for the pump. So it stops the pump from sucking anything in that can actually damage the impeller system on there. It's not actually a water filter. So you will need, if you are intending to filter the water, you need a separate filter system. These pumps will then pump the water into that filter system. That will help to filter the water. They'll only handle very small fine debris, not large things. These are not solid handling pumps. We will cover the solid handling pump range from Hozelock in one of our next videos. And that kind of covers all the key points. Thank you for watching a video by GardenSite.co.uk. Thanks.